Are here for the first time. I think for them it's also very exciting. The first attendance at a World Cup, and yeah, we're reading the rosters right now, right?
We will, yeah. Would you kindly start for the all Chinese
Yes.
nations?
I can start for Chinese nations, playing in red with the number 09 Lethal Weapon, with the number 121 MAK, with the number 14 Pass, 177 Hippopotamus, 182 Mayhem, 234 The Skate is a Lie, 297 Tranquilize Her, 316 Punk, 377 Lex Anguination, 4 Poison, 48 Brute, 524 Sonja Sotoma Yolo, 852 Maple Bitch Slap, 86 Made in China, really great name, and 999 Lemmy. This was the Chinese nations roster, playing in red today.
You had some challenging names there, well done. That was awesome. And for the West Indies, we have 0 Feral Fairy, 007 Aphrodite for Destruction, or sometimes pronounced Aphrodite for Destruction, 088 Amazing Disgrace, 16 Violet Attack, 186 Camboozled, 19 Pina Colada, I love that name, 328 Tantrum, 38 Titch, 407 Bamazon Warrior, 6 Jessica Ramit, 63 Beat Her Parker, 751 Poker Face, 808 Bowser, 82 Princess Punch, and then finally 98 Shellfire for the West Indies.
And now the West Indies will cheer because you read it that great.
Just
Yes.
Eagerly awaiting now 1 minute 10 to the start. There we go. Yeah, West Indies are up for it. The crowd's up for it. They've responded. The energy's high. We have the pleasure of being in track 5. Obviously, as we said, it's the House of the Bruisers. The track is also sponsored by S1 helmets. And we have the privilege of being the hottest, literal hottest track.
Awesome.
With temperature. So they've managed to bring in some really high, heavy-duty fans to keep everyone cool. But I'd like to try and dub it the oven. For a good old laugh, but it's not stuck yet, unfortunately.
But I think it's perceived very different, depending on where you're coming from and what you're used to. If you're living in the desert, it's okay for you. It's totally fine in here. So yeah, we will also see maybe teams from states who have a different climate than maybe in Central Europe can cope with it even better. So
speaking of weather,
we've
been threatened with some thunderstorms today, haven't we?
Yes.
There was even an announcement from the fire brigade that they're closely monitoring in case we have to evacuate.
Yes.
Because there's no drama in roller derby unless there's drama. Which doesn't make any sense, but I'm just making it up. Why not?
All right. So we are just about to start.
I'm loving the colours on track that we're seeing at the moment. Obviously everyone at home will be able to see that, but we've got a fantastic, nice, vibrant blue colour of the West Indies kit. And then I really appreciate how Chinese nations have done their kit as well. They've got the green trim, the solid red, and I believe what looks to be a dragon of sorts, a yellow dragon.
It's a dragon.
Just really nicely balanced, and seeing that all mingle on track as a shirt wearer of yellow, thanks to the old Crash Test Brummies, I do love a bit of colour. So it's fantastic.
And it looks really great in this venue because everything is covered with wood. It really has really a nice picture we're seeing. And we will see some great roller derby here too, I think. I'm very excited. And I'm really curious how West Indies will show up. In the last World Cup, they made it on the 25th position. And as I already mentioned, Chinese nations, it's their first attendance. So for me, it's kind of a black box. We will see.
So we're just having a look at our stats. It doesn't look like these teams have played before either, based on the information we've gathered. So, you know, they're going to be treading new ground together. Hopefully build a nice rivalry and get some nice legitimate track tension in a good spirit, of course. We don't want no argy-bargy unnecessarily, but we want to see some, and we will see some passion on track. Oh, there we go.
I'm also very curious how the Chinese nations will play together, because they are spread over 3 continents. So they didn't have the chance to train together. West Indies is training since April last year. So they had a couple of time to find together as a team. And some of the players from the Chinese nations team, they told us, we are happy to meet each other in the World Cup, literally. So, and I mean, roller derby is a team sport. I'm really curious how they find together as a team. Maybe they get better and better because they learned actually to play together.
Yeah. West Indies have been fortunate enough that, I mean, we've had some skaters coming from Germany, for example, to come to the training sessions hosted in Birmingham at the venue of Birmingham Roller Derby. So it's going to be interesting. The unknown commodity is Chinese nations, and you can't sleep on it, because they'll take advantage of all the gaps and they'll get those points. Like, I'd be remiss for not mentioning Mac on Chinese nations. So one of their coaches, Fembo Party Killer, sadly can't announce with us.
Not M-A-K, as I said.
Yeah.
It was in big letters, so I thought M-A-K, but Mac.
Yeah, Mac.
Right.
Plays for Nottingham Roller Derby, fantastic skater. So, if you've got that kind of calibre in the team, you know that's going to prop the rest of the team up and bring everyone together to bring some great quality roller derby on track. Shout out to Fembo.
Maybe they decided, also Chinese nations decided to stick to very strict rotations. We will see. Yeah, the first jam started in here, and wow, this was a very fast lead status for the West Indies. Tantrum is achieving the lead status, and Lemmy, player for Chinese nations, is still in the initial. Now it's out. The person is out. 999, Lemmy is out, and before Lemmy is able to make some points, the jam is called off. No, there have been points. I was wrong. Wow. Okay, the call came too late. So we have 3 points for Chinese nations in here, and 2 for Team West Indies in this first jam.
Very close to the wire that call-off was. It was, there was no breathing room in there at all. Unfortunately, the timing a little bit off. The coaches will need to be looking at that and thinking, if we're going to control jams and get lead, we can't be giving up 3 points like that when we have complete control of the jam.
Aphrodite for destruction for Team West Indies, achieving the lead status very early, and Lex Anguination for Chinese nations roller derby is still in the initial. Took the helmet cover up. Yeah, recognized there was a cut. Yeah, and West Indies is on the first scoring trip. 007. I really like the number.
Special agent.
And Chinese nations also made it through the initial. And yeah, the call is coming.
Ooh, hesitated there. Hesitant call off there. Dangerous game, but
There was a star pass in this jam.
But that's two leads in a row there for West Indies. They're getting the leads. That was a successful jam for them. Better in the direction considering what happened in Jam 1, where they gave up that extra point. So that will give some confidence. Chinese nations are going to respond to that, no doubt. Here we go.
8-6 made in China is jammer for Chinese nations. This jam, and we will see who is getting lead status now. Is Chinese nations able to achieve it? Peter Parker for West Indies. Last line of defense.
Fantastic blocking there out the front there by Red 48. Got the penalty though.
But the pivot needs to go to the penalty box. I didn't see which penalty it was. But now the jam is called off.
So that was a lead jammer status that had gone to Chinese nations. So that's a step in the right direction to try and bring this game a bit even. They're off by 7 points. We saw some great blocking out the front there. Yeah, it just gone out of the engagement zone range. That's unfortunate, but sometimes you just got to try and take those hits and slow it down. Hope your teammate come and back you up and put it back in. But as our Joe would say, you're having a lovely time.
Wow. The jam started with hits between the jammer and lead status again for West Indies. Poker face and Maple Bitch Slam for Chinese Nations roller derby. And the crowd is really freaking out. They're so loud.
It is packed in here today.
Yes. And yeah, Chinese Nations almost made it through the pack, but then got hit out and recycled all the way back. And West Indies is through again, saving 4 points. And now finally Chinese Nations also made it through.
Some really nice edge work there on the outside line.
There was a stoppers again.
So that's 10 points to West Indies and no points to Chinese Nations. Still, there's only a 17 points difference in it, with 20 to West Indies and 3 to Chinese Nations. Again, that doesn't really mean much in roller derby. 17 points only matters really at the end of the game when that final whistle goes. Right, we're about to let's get busy.
Camboozled as a jammer for the Team West Indies and Lethal Weapon for Chinese Nations. And yes, again, the West Indies tend to be in front and achieving lead status.
Excellent patient approach, beautiful leg work there. Using the edges of the wheels, throwing the hips, taking people off balance.
And the pivot from the Chinese Nations team already has the stoppers in the hand. And the pivot helmet cover is almost done, almost away. Oh. All right, there is the call.
Another
West Indies, yes.
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
Okay.
Another well-controlled jam there from West Indies, maintaining the lead jammer status. They've had it 4 out of 5 times now, which is strong. That's exactly how you want to play a game. Incremental wins, controlling the flow. Jammers are being patient at the moment. It is very hot in here, so pacing yourself is essential.
5 seconds call. Will come soon. No. So 999 for Chinese Nations is achieving their lead status now, but followed by the West Indies jammer Tantrum. Wow, this was a very, very quick jam.
Very quick, very close. They're definitely taking every single time. They're just taking it so close to the call-off. Just trying to eke out every single point that they can. I mean, for me as a bench coach, that makes me very nervous. In case you've got to take into account the reaction time from the refs. Sometimes I won't see it if a blocker gets in the way. So that's why I generally consider that a dangerous game, especially when you're trying to catch up. But in
There's
that jam,
a timeout at the moment for the Chinese Nations.
And our timeouts today are sponsored by Crash Course. And let's find out a little bit about what Crash Course do. Crash Course helps busy roller derby athletes increase strength, endurance and agility, conquer self-doubt and create the habits of high performance to become all-stars and MVPs on the track and in life. Want to make a 2-minute jam feel easy? Visit chrissycrash.com, that's with K's, not C's, to download the free Off-Skates Roller Derby training series. Life is a contact sport. Win. Eventually I'll remember how to speak English, despite being born and raised in England.
Yes, you speak very fast. The WFTDI jam line is filled with skaters again, so the timeout from the Chinese nations team is over. I'm curious what they have been talking about in the bench, but we will never know.
Hard to say at this point. There's no... I mean, they're winning most of the jams, just like this one, and lead has now been called, thanks to the lead the jam ref.
Aphrodite for Destruction got lead status in this 7th jam. Where did the pivot come from? From the penalty box? Ah.
Yes, the pivot had paid a trip to the Saisu Mouth Gods penalty box.
All right, there was a star pass, not yet completed, but a pivot has the helmet in the hand. The pivot from the Chinese nations makes it through the pack and is in the initial now.
Excellent. We've got a rogue pivot cover there on the track. That is a trip hazard if I've seen one. But speaking of trip hazards, the volunteer crew have done a fantastic job today of maintaining the track, keeping it dry, keeping it clean as well. We saw like loads of dust being swept off on track 2 in the main hall there. Just lines of it after one game, incredible.
So 5 seconds call was finished and we're starting in the jam number 8 with Peter Parker and Made in China. And West Indies is achieving lead status.
First time 6-3 has got lead in this game so far.
And Made in China made it through the pack, but the jam gets called immediately.
A much more comfortable call off there, very confident, very clear. That's how I like to play roller derby. So 39 points to West Indies, 5 to Chinese nations. Again, it's not runaway. You know, you could be one power jam away from clawing a big points differential back. But it all comes down to maybe Chinese nations need to start considering how they're approaching their starts.
Yeah, we will see if Maple Bitch Slap is able to achieve the lead status, or will it be Poker Face from Team West Indies? Yeah, Team West Indies has the lead status again. Oh, very hard hit. Chairman just fell down. Again, a lot of skaters were rumbling down.
Very important to fall small in roller derby, and that's a good example why.
And now the jammer made it through the pack. The Chinese nations jammer. And the call gets called. It's often 2 trips, right?
So at the moment we've got 7 lead statuses going to West Indies and then 2 going to Chinese nations. So that definitely indicates that the coaches need to reassess what they need to do for the starting line. If what they've been doing isn't working, they've got to change it up a bit because everyone will settle in and that makes things predictable.
So the jam is standing at the WFTDI jam line. Lethal weapon for Chinese nations roller derby and Team West Indies camboozled. How do you say camboozled?
Camboozled, that's right.
Camboozled.
Yeah, spot on.
All right. Yeah, now it's taking a little more time till the lead status is given.
Pressure being put on there by Chinese nations. That's fantastic.
Nice last defense over here from the West Indish blogger, sorry. And now Chinese nations has the lead status, the 3rd one.
Just got to stay together, hold the line so that the West Indies jammer can put the pressure on, but Chinese nations either want to run the jam or are not aware that there's a scoring pass now for West Indies. Yeah, the West Indies bench asking them to call it off. There we go.
Probably there have been some hips, yes. So it came unfortunately a little too late, so Team West Indies achieved 5 points in this jam and Chinese nations 2. One
thing I've got a comment on so far is that we are 12 minutes into this game, and so far it's been relatively clean. The Saiso Mouthguard's penalty box hasn't been overly busy, which I'm sure that our very hot crew will appreciate.
That's very impressive. In the game before, it was packed. So Tantrum from West Indies team saved the lead status for the team and is out of the initial and putting up the first points in here. While also the Chinese jammer made it through, Lemmy. Very fast skater in here.
That's got to be some point there. Just waiting for the scores to be updated while we do that.
2 points for Chinese Nations roller derby in here.
Again, despite getting lead jammer status, they were still able to. West Indies were still able to give away some points, and it looks like they've got someone visiting the Saisu Mouthguard penalty box. So that's going to be a disadvantage for the next start. That could be the opportunity for Chinese Nations, which have changed their tack. They are starting from the front this time.
So the blockers were lining up at the pivot line. This is, I think this is new, right? Did you perceive it before?
Yeah, it's a different approach this time.
Let me see. Okay, West Indies has lead status again.
Sadly, it didn't pay off, but at least Chinese Nations are now out of.
Nice big safe steps, still under control by leg sanguination. The Chinese Nations jammer. This was again a quite quick jam, I would say.
Yeah, no jams have run away at the moment, and you know, at the end of the day, West Indies are winning.
We already have 12 jams. Wow.
Yeah. Quick call-offs.
Yeah.
All about control, which is important. But they've kind of stopped letting this point bleed happening. Otherwise, it's all for nothing. Okay, so we've got Maiden China lining up versus Beta Parker by the looks of it.
So we have Maiden China jamming again for Chinese Nations roller derby and Team West Indies Beta Parker.
Oh, that track's getting stretched out right now.
And the score, I would say, is quite uneven, but the fact that the trips are so short and we only have the highest score was 10 in a jam, so it shows they are more even than maybe the score looks like.
Yeah, because no jams run away at all.
Yeah.
And the highest jam we saw was 10 points. And it's all been just like marginal victories in each jam. You know, again, the fact that West Indies are controlling by getting the lead jammer status is more valuable to them, because that's how they've just slowly crept away with the lead. Their defense is on point at the moment, stopping Chinese Nations from getting out and putting as much pressure on. People seems to be more settled in at the moment, which is vital. And the Saisu Mouthguard's penalty box is currently empty, which will make a huge difference. Lovely little bit of edge work there, keeping in bounds, taking the inside lane. Lead jammer status is available to West Indies. Unfortunately, Chinese Nations took the helmet cover off. Nope. I'm incorrect. It appears.
The jammer was in the box, right?
There we go. Lead status has been given to West Indies after the refs cleared up who had earned it.
So this was a 2-minute jam because the lead status was lost. Did I get it right?
It'd be remiss of me to mention that thankfully I've got some friends back home that are looking after my cats. The skater formerly known as Boney M, now known as Banshee. Please make sure my Mr. Bobo is fed. And I can't unfortunately say our partner's name, it's not appropriate for the stream. But we will.
Poker face for Team West Indies as a jammer in here on Maple Beach Slap. And again, the West Indies are controlling this game and achieving lead status. And Maple Beach Slap is still fighting against the blockers, who are doing a really good job in here, West Indies. That's really a very stable wall.
That might be the opportunity, unfortunately. Nope. So despite the down jammer, West Indies managed to hold their wall integrity together just long enough.
Star pass for Chinese nations.
Another 4-point jam, another tactical call-off. Teams are definitely more settled in now, though, as you'd probably expect, 30 minutes from the final whistle of the first period.
Seconds call, and we have tantrum for Team West Indies and lethal weapon for the Chinese nations. And tantrum is achieving lead status.
Tantrum's been pretty consistent there, getting the lead statuses. That's
very fast. Yeah.
Very powerful as well. You don't want to be hit by Tantrum. Yeah, 3 out of 3 jams for Tantrum, they're getting lead.
First scoring trip. Right, second scoring trip. The Chinese Nations Roller Derby jammer is still in the initial. Maybe this will be a jam who has more than 10 points. Wow. Okay, great perception. There was a cut, and Tantrum needed to go back and saving the 4 points without going to the Season of Guts penalty box.
West Indies seem to be just sharper on the offense to defense. It's a little bit more precise, creating more of the gaps. At the moment, we're still...
So already 16 points in here. And there was a star pass, making it able for the Chinese nations team to getting through, and there will be a call to avoid that there are points for Chinese nations roller derby. 20 points in this jam for West Indies.
That was a strong performance there from Tantrum. Again, consistent with getting lead, but backed up by a brilliant offense-defense switch from West Indies. It's as simple as that. Chinese nations need to probably take a few notes on that at half-time and say, look, what can we do to create more gaps and not get bogged down?
So now the pack stands again at the WFTDI jam line. The strategy switched again. And wow, what a nice spin around by Lemmy, the Chinese nations roller derby jammer in here. But again, West Indies is achieving a lead status, and Chinese nations is also making it through.
Some good pace there, really putting the pressure on.
One of those quick jams again.
And a great smile there from 999 from Chinese nations.
Yes.
Enjoying the vibe and the atmosphere. I mean, it looks even more packed than it started off with.
Yeah, it's really a nice spirit. I also like how friendly they look at each other at the WFTDI jam line. And
they've continued to maintain a good discipline on both sides. No major penalty spirals, but that's when there is one of the Chinese nation skaters off track, West Indies are capitalising on that.
Now Chinese nations is in front of the pack. Almost making it through on the outside, but are getting recycled all the way back. And now Team West Indies is in front, making it through, achieving lead status.
4 out of 4 lead jammer statuses there for 7-5-1 on West Indies. Poker Face.
Poker Face is calling it off, or wanted to, but realizing not having lead status. It wasn't Poker Face, it was leg sanguination from the Chinese team wanting to call it off. But it wasn't able, because Poker Face from Team West Indies has the lead status.
Leg sanguination really bogged down by the defence, looking for that star pass just to get it moved, to get that pressure on, to force the call off, because that seems to be West Indies' approach. So get that star out, get it past. Can't do that now, because now the Chinese nation's pivot has gone to the box. So that is going to make this a much longer and unfortunately painful jam.
Yes. Yeah, Poker Face trying to push through with a lot of power and then speeding it up and achieving another 4 points and then calling it off.
Nice 12-point jam there, taking advantage of the lack of pivot. Which, bearing in mind, the Chinese nation's pivot Mac is still in the Sicily Mouthguards penalty box. Standing, of course, so that's
standing, yeah.
It's going to make, might be a sneaky star pass if we can't get the lead status to Chinese nations.
So there's an official review at the moment, which gives us the opportunity to read about our sponsors. For example, 888. They are elevating derby safety standards with cutting-edge technology. 888. For example, the deep cover helmet from 888, they provide unmatched technology and fit options. So upgrade your safety with derby-driven innovation. 888.
Yas Queen. We've got Very Cherry, Birmingham bound, who's currently in the middle of the official review, or the fray in some cases, getting the juicy goss to find out what exactly has gone on. And who called said official review, which was Chinese nations called the official review.
Yes. Maybe it has to do something with the lead status that they were assuming they had. I don't know. We will see.
I would say they did. Chinese nations Jammer did take the helmet cover off quite early on once lead had been transferred, and that seemed relatively clean. Oh, here we go. Here comes Cherry, marching, almost getting taken out by one of the track cleaning volunteers. So, yeah, Chinese nations there called the official review. They're asking for what I believe I heard was a forearm
penalty for the blocker,
which also happens to be the captain as well. I don't think it's affecting the jammers from what I understood, though.
Yeah.
So normally you'd want to use your official review to get a jammer in the box. So interesting use. But we are 8 minutes in, so it could be a tactical timeout. Have a breather. Okay.
So the officials stick to their decision. The call was not successful. 5 seconds call in here, and the Chinese nations. Jammer. Yeah, interesting.
Interestingly, the Chinese nations pivot in the box is sat down, is now stood back up.
All right.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely amazing footwork there from the Chinese nations jammer, but sadly... Oh, there we go. The jammer status.
Power jam for Chinese nations, and there's a lot of joy about it in here.
Everyone loves an underdog, don't they?
Almost making it through, and then a massive hit her out, but now Lemmy is on the first scoring trip. Jammer is standing.
West Indies doing a great job there of controlling the middle of the track, but oh dear.
And the jammer comes back, the blue jammer. Bamboozled. And Lemmy gets another 4 points in here and is really happy about it.
A massive grin on Lammy's face. Absolutely enjoying what's happening out there. All those points. It's also the highest jam for Chinese nations at the moment. We've still got 45 seconds.
So Star Stash and Bamboozled makes it through the pack. Is in the initial. And we will see if this is perceived. Yeah, it is perceived, but the decision by the Chinese nation coaches to go on, obviously.
Good call off there. I think Lammy's going to appreciate the call off there. You You could sense the energy just starting to drop a little bit. You know, there was a lot of energy coming out of Lamy during that jam, and then finally got bogged down.
Very fast, very agile. 16 points, yes. That's how it looked, it felt like.
And that's a little bit of a, I suppose, lifeline that Chinese nations were looking for. It gives them a little bit of, you know, if we can do this and get that right mentality in place, we can still pull some points out of the bag and regroup and understand what we need to do to fix this.
If Made in China tries to get through the pack on the inside, then on the outside, on the inside again. Yeah, but West Indies, the jammer, Tantrum, is making it through the pack. And sneaking on the outside with not much contact.
Excellent example of waterfall in there from West Indies.
And again, the outside, the next scoring trip for Tantrum.
So currently, Blue Zero has made a trip to the Saisu mouthguard penalty box for a directional penalty. Might make the life a bit easier for the jammers, and you know, Chinese nations really needs to capitalise on that offence. It frees up another blocker.
There's a star pass from Mac, the pivot, the Chinese nation teams. And there's no lead status at the moment.
Interesting.
At the scoreboard it was only Team West Indies had lead status. Okay, so there was a mistake at the scoreboard at the moment.
Right.
So they said Made in China was lead, but it wasn't. Right.
Nice 16-point jam there for West Indies in the bag.
Wow. Yeah, that's really speeding up now.
That's 15 lead statuses versus 4. So West Indies have managed to get laid 15 times, and Chinese nations have had lead 4 times in this period.
So Maple Beach Slam for Chinese Nations Roller Derby, and Team West Indies Aphrodite for Destruction already having the lead status, sneaking through very fast. And now Chinese Nations also made it through. And this was one of those quick jams who gets called off very soon. Only
you know what I'm finding?
4 points, yeah.
I'm finding it amazing. It's another 4-point jam, and I'm looking at the clock, and there's 3 minutes 30 left. And I'm starting to wonder, where's it gone? Where's the time gone? I swear it felt a lot longer than the game I was calling earlier.
And 20 jams, right? Sometimes a whole game is 20 jams.
Can be, yeah, can be, yeah. So you could still got 2 to 3 jams we can get out of this.
Yeah. Peter Parker from Team West Indies is saving the lead status in this 20th jam. And Little Weapon is jamming for Chinese nations. And we see a very good defense by Chinese nations.
Solid take there by the
really
Chinese nations.
To get through. Peter Parker rolling the whole wall. How many power do you have? Wow. Chinese nations is making it through the initial, and now the jammers have been on the same heave? Same heave. Can you say so? And Team West Indies called. It was another 4 points jam.
Yeah, another tactical call. If you've got control, you've got a big difference like this, why give points away? Because you know the points at the end of the game don't matter, just as long as you've won the game, because of the style and the nature of the tournament. Because it's an advanced Swiss system that this World Cup's using. So they've taken the top, from the results from last year, they've taken the top half, matching with the bottom half, and that should, in theory, as it spreads out, create a more fair and more competitive for the appropriate levels of teams.
Yes. So tomorrow, every team who has won today will play against a team who has also won 1 point, and also the teams who lost their game today will play tomorrow. So they have the chance, by traveling so fast, to get to be able to play some games.
Got a bit of jammer on jammer action here. Thought we were going to see an eat the baby. Not today. Bench crew very calm in the corner there. A great attribute to have. I'm certain that Ed Astaire for Stoke City Rollers would appreciate the demeanour.
Yeah, Chinese nations are doing a great job in recycling the jammer. But also the other team does the same actually. So this is one of those jams that is very, it's much more longer and there's a lot of power put into and not so much movement.
And that is, I think that might be Amazon Warrior taking a trip to the Sisu Mouthguard penalty box. And Mac is successful with the star pass. I'm sure that'll make Fembo proud and warm inside.
And Pokerfest has lead status and scored 4 points and is calling it off now. Yes. This was the first half of the game. Team West Indies between Chinese nations. And we have intermission for 15 minutes now.
We do. I do have an apology to make to Fembo, actually. I just realised, like, I called the Oxford versus Nottingham game last year at playoffs, and that was a cracking game, but Fembo plays for Oxford, Matt plays for Nottingham. I'm talking like they're associated, but Fembo loves everyone.
Yes, we have almost over 101 point difference in here, so it's quite clear, but still they are not as uneven as they look like because they are very quick and short jams. So Chinese nations is making it very fast through the pack, but not able to achieve the lead status. So
yep, it's very accurate. We've seen maybe 3 or 4 jams where West Indies have been able to get 12 to 16 points. They had one incredible 20-point jam. But like you say, mostly it's been kept down to 4 because of the pressure that Chinese nations are putting upon them. But what is it, 132, 100-point difference. It's a challenge, definitely. But I think some maybe Chinese nations will be a second half team. Now they've had some track time together. They've got the nerves out of the way of playing the first game.
They showed they are able to actually, yes. When they have in lead status, they are also able to make. I think there was a trip with 2 scoring trips. A jam with 2 scoring trips. Yes.
Yeah.
We will see.
Yeah, they did indeed have an 8-point jam at some point.
Roller derby is a great emancipator. It's the place where like-minded people gather. It makes me feel powerful and strong when I'm able to jump through the different blockers or do a spin move.
Roller derby helped me remember that I'm an athlete. Roller derby allowed me to feel proud of my size and feel confident with the way I move and just be really proud to be the size and the shape that I am.
That I'm just going to have a safe space to create and just spill my joy onto the track for everybody to see.
Scald Eagle was always inside pre-derby, but actually getting into roller derby allowed me the space to amplify that part of my personality.
I often play for the little 14-year-old Lauren inside of me, and I try to make her proud.
I love roller derby.
First rule of Sisu is, wearing a mouth guard is cool. Say the word. Sisu! Second rule of Sisu is, use a thin mouth guard, not a big old gummy one. Say the word. Sisu! Third rule, pick your Sisu style. Fourth rule, talk, breathe, drink, easily. Sisu, Sisu, Sisu! The final rule of Sisu is, unlike others, you got up to 20 times to remold it. Who's got Sisu? Sisu!
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, Every team, every season, everybody. We've got you covered.
West Indies against Chinese nations. The scoreboard says West Indies has won 3 2 points, 132 points and 31 points for Chinese Nations Roller Derby. But still I find it very interesting because the champs are very, very quick and they look more even than the score is actually saying. Without our officials, this game would not be possible. So thanks a lot, you're doing a great job. Head NSO, Tramadol, then the other officials are Denominator, Barbara Boobs, Beth Case Scenario, Derry Hare, Dropkick Bruce, Fear Leader, Garth Funkel, Gaston, Miss Demone, Mr. Nitro, Slutty Hers, Weirdo, Homo You Didn't, Lucas McNeil, Peter Park M, Rough Draft, Sharky, Tito, and Trixie House. Thanks for doing this job in here and making it safe and fair for everybody. In my eyes, it's a very clean game. There have not been very much penalties.
No, there's been no
penalties.
penalty
The officials
spirals.
are needed, I would say.
Yeah, it's, I'm sure they always appreciate it when they don't have to worry about wrangling people back to the box so that we can get them to sit the penalty infractions. So yeah, it's been a very clean game. One merit that we've got to give Chinese Nations is their pivot and pass game.
Yes.
You know, they're getting that helmet cover right off. They're getting the passes in. They're keeping the pressure on as much as they can do.
They're dealing very good with the situation that they're earning not so many star passes. Yes. Not so many lead statuses. Sorry.
So, maybe some of you at home have also noticed that we've got some rather unique track tape as well. We've got pink establishing the actual track itself. And then we've got green designating the very boundary of the ref lane.
On this very beautiful wooden floor.
Yeah, it is. It's you don't get to see these as often. We kind of got more like the lino version back in England, or sometimes like a tile cover. But you know, seeing this takes me back to, not takes me back, I was only born in '87, but it makes me think when they used to make really good quality wooden floors. You know, it's very triangular, it's segmented.
Yeah, it's very slippery, I think.
I'd imagine at this point it'd be very sticky with the humidity that's in it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
But who knows? We ain't got skates, so we can't try it. I definitely can't do it.
So, lineup phase will start, or has started.
There's a lot of people running into positions now.
Yes.
You can make it, go on!
People running without wearing skates. Okay, that would make me nervous as a bench. But there are 10 persons on the track now. Team West Indies again, Chinese Nations. I'm really excited to see the second period of this game.
Yep. I wonder if we're going to see the same story from period one, where West Indies got 18 lead jammer statuses versus the 4 lead jammer statuses that Chinese Nations got. Got a slight delay at the moment. You know, hopefully Chinese Nations will bring something a little bit different, try and take away that dominant position that West Indies have established and change up the start. So we have got a start from the front. Here we go, rolling whistle.
Lemmy reminding herself that you really need to get down and stand near to the floor to be more stable in roller derby. I often perceive it that jammers are putting the fingers down on the floor to remember that when they start.
It's also very effective if you've got blockers in front of blockers and you like a nice sneaky approach.
So, Tantrum for Team West Indies is jammer in this first jam in period 2. And yes, Chinese Nations have lead status, a very rare moment so far. We will see how often they will make it. Wow, what a nice skating move on the outside.
Tactical
for
call
about
off.
3 meters on 1 foot. Wow.
If there's one way to come out swinging off the blocks, that's how you do it. And then done it in style as well, a nice little one-footed glide around the apex there at the end, and then the old, as we call it, the tactical call-off.
We will see.
If they can maintain that, it'd be great, but it looks like West Indies have changed their start. They did like a flat line across the back. They've got a bit more integrity with the tripod, changing that up. They definitely felt the sting of that. And we've gone for a
official timeout.
Yes. Just trying to figure out what's stopped everything. Nothing so far. Hopefully the crowd will also bring the energy. We've had an intermission. People have hopefully got themselves refreshed. It's very important that people are hydrating. It is very humid. It is very hot here.
Yes.
You know, if any of you happen to be here in Austria watching the stream and come into the tracks themselves, let that be a lesson to you. Very important.
So Prost, as you say in here in Austria. Prost.
Ooh. So what does that mean?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Official timeout still. Let's see.
Some running in the background.
But you were talking about strategies. You said West Indies changed their strategy with a flat wall?
Yeah, they started the jam, well, they started period 2 with a flat wall, which is something I've normally seen a lot with like Birmingham Roller Derby, because there's a fair few players that have come from Birmingham Roller Derby that are on the West Indies team, so there's going to be that influence, especially with Violet Attack as like kind of like the team manager in a way. So really spearheading it, and Violet Attack's a very tenured player within the team, one of the foundations for it. So, you know, there's that Birmingham Roller Derby flat influence. I'm sure it's not a Birmingham Roller Derby thing, but from what I've seen, they've made it theirs and made it their own. Didn't pay off for them that time. Chinese Nations got a blocker in the way just to disrupt the centerpiece of that and created the gap, which allowed Lammy to get out and show us some moves, show us some skills. Show me the moves. Yeah, we're still trapped in limbo at the moment with this official timeout. We've got a best case scenario in the Siso mouthguard penalty box. I'll be honest, Beth fills me with fear. If there's any official I don't want to cross paths with, it's definitely Beth. And she's ingrained the 5 seconds. Back when I started roller derby, Beth was there at Wiltshire Roller Derby, 5 seconds. And ever since then it's stuck. So if I see her, I give her a 5 seconds and I run away very quickly.
When did you start?
I started about 2017.
Wow.
2017, so between 2016 and 2017. Started at Wiltshire Roller Derby, they looked after me so well. They've got a skater skating for Scotland, Serenity Shepherd.
And you're also a coach, right? So
yeah,
what would you tell the Chinese nations team? What should they change?
Well, what they've done a great job of is they've gone from the back to the front. I would be looking to say, look, we need to hold a lane on the in or the out and try and just hold our ground to create that gap, because West Indies seem to be pretty good on their lateral movement and getting them waterfalling, whereas if you hold that lane, you can disrupt, you can protect from the intercept manoeuvre. Just shake it up a little bit more. I'm going to take a little bit more notice now of what Chinese nations are doing, because it's mostly been West Indies that have dominated the period 1 and not let Chinese nations show us what they can do.
But still they are able to get through the pack.
Yeah.
They are just the second one who does that. So,
They want to be, Chinese nations want to be what West Indies were in period 1. They want to get lead, get the control. I mean, 20 minutes? Well, we had, 22 jams roughly in period 1? You know,
20 jams, yeah.
If they can control those jams at 4 points apiece, I can't do the math off the top of my head. I've only got one hand. Well, I've got two, but you know, they might be able to claw it back.
So they solved the problem, and there was a rolling whistle. So we're going straight to 5 seconds. And Team West Indies has Aphrodite for Destruction as a jammer, and Chinese Roller Derby, Chinese Nations Roller Derby, made in China, and another lead status. All right.
If Chinese Nations can keep this pace up and get 5 points every single jam, they can close this distance and potentially win this game.
This would be really crazy.
It would be an absolutely crazy feat, and you know, we all love it. Love a bit of the on-track drama there. Tactical call-off.
I mean, they are able to get through the pack. They just need to be the first one. It was actually closer than it looked like. Yeah, all right. 4 points for Chinese. No, 3 points. 3 points, excuse me. Nations. At 6.
Cheers. Thank you. So 2 out of 2. That's 2 leads for Chinese nations.
Yes. Jam is on. And we have leg sanguination for Chinese nations. And we will see if it continues. If there was this shifted momentum in the halftime, in the intermission, sorry.
The Chinese nations blockers looking so much more confident on track at the moment, holding their own better. But we've got some of those nerves out. Great hold up there, but you'd expect a jammer typically to get out there.
Yes, it could have bridged more, I think, but it's always hard. As a blocker, I can say it's really hard to realize when do I need to bridge now. All right, we have now lead status again for Team West Indies. There's a helmet cover lying on the floor. I hope a person who is allowed to picks it up.
West Indies obviously responded to that really rapidly, making it even more difficult, stalling for time. And the more time they get, the more passes and points they get.
There was the pivot from Chinese nation, putting it on, taking the helmet cover and giving it to the jammer. I think it's not allowed, right?
We've seen something like that before. There was this crazy tactic where someone would throw a helmet cover, it would land on someone and they'd have to give it back, so they'd throw it back to the jammer. I saw a video of it once. They were at the back of the pack, the jammer threw the helmet cover, caught by the pivot. The jammer went to the front of the pack, was told they had to give it back, so the pivot threw it back. It's a really niche, not really in the sport, not in the good faith of the sport really, but it's within the rule set. But it's not something you get away with very regularly.
Grey zones, all right.
Yeah, very grey.
All right, we have Maple Bitch Slam for Chinese nations and Poker Face for Team West Indies. And the crowd is cheering up and getting loud again because Chinese nation almost made it through, but then West Indies was first. Poker Face is on lead status now and able to score. And we will see, they're also doing a quite flat wall, the Chinese nations. But Poker Face splitted the wall and made it through.
Pina Colada is doing an excellent job of blocking and closing those lanes off in this jam.
Maple Bitch Slam was out of the initial. And
yeah, good call off that.
Yeah, I think there was not any points. Yes, no points for Chinese nations, unfortunately. And Team West Indies is back like they ended the first period, actually, with short jams between 6 and 10 or 4 and 12, round about that. And the lead status. We'll see. Camboozled for Team West Indies.
Yes, that's right, Camboozled.
And who is jamming for Chinese nations? Lethal Weapon. Camboozled
all over.
Saved the lead status.
I think it's Lethal
There
Weapon.
was a star pass in the Chinese nations team to Brood 4-8, who was skating very fast, not achieving any points, but avoiding that Team West Indies is making more than 2 points. So only 2 points for Team West Indies. And this is so typical for this game, I would say.
Yeah, it seems to be dropping back into what we saw in period 1.
This jam was the nutshell of the game.
Right, so it looks like a 3-1 crush there by Chinese nations. Borderline 2-2 start.
Lemmy for Chinese nations, saving their lead status, but persecuted by Tantrum. And the pack is speeding up very fast.
It's the second time we've seen that one-legged glide round the apex. It seems to be Lammy's kind of thing, but great balance, great control, great confidence to pull it off. Lammy just looks like they're having a great time.
So, and perfect call-off. 0 points for Team West Indies and 3 points. Although they were so close, this was really perfectly
It's what they need. They didn't get too many lead statuses, and they're actually getting closer to that number that they had in the first period.
Made in China, starting this jam with a really big grin. Now is getting recycled to the WFTDA jam line, starting again actually, while 007 Aphrodite for Destruction from Team West Indies is already in the second scoring trip now. First points are already on the scoreboard. What was fantastic?
Just a nice little sweep there from Chinese Nations. West Indies overcommitted just a little bit too much. Chinese Nations just held their ground, got in, allowed their jammer to get out.
So this is a power jam situation now, because Aphrodite for Destruction needed to go to the penalty box, and she had lead, so lead was lost. So we also see 2-minute jam.
This is what Chinese Nations would be happy to have. I don't think anyone would be happy to have a 2-minute jam, unless you're a player from Tyne and Fear. But you know, it's an opportunity. 44 seconds of opportunity for Chinese Nations to get some more points on that board and close that differential.
And that jammer from Team West Indies is back and speeding it up and really wanting to get through, I think, and is already in front of the pack. And making it through very fast, saving 4 points for Team West Indies. So it's quite even now, 8-8 at the moment in this jam.
Oh, so close.
Oh, very millimeters on the inside line. But great awareness. Where am I? What do I need to do now? Controlling the body. Great job by Aphrodite for Destruction.
And yeah.
And of course also the player, the jammer from Chinese Nations, made a great job. 10 points. This must be so exhausting in this heat. I would die.
Oh, the heat is absolutely immense, just as much as the heat that is occupying the seats in the S1 mouthguard penalty box. We've got a player, a blocker from Chinese Nations, and we've got a pivot from West Indies in the S1 mouthguard penalty box. So this should make it a bit more space for the jammers to move around and work some magic, just like that. Taking the inside line, successful move there from Peter Parker.
So Mr. Hazard, is Team West Indies used to that kind of climate? What actually is Team West Indies? You know a little more about those areas, right?
So with Team West Indies, the players themselves, a lot of them have a lot of heritage in the region, because it's made up of a lot of islands. And this has come from over half as well, which is quite helpful when you spend your life with your partner who comes from with Jamaican heritage. But so the West Indies are made up of skaters from the Dominica, Guyana, I probably mispronounced that, apologies, the Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, and Haiti. So that's where their heritage comes from, where they're descended from, and a lot of them probably not so much used to the climate as many of the skaters are based, like in Europe or in England, for example. So
skaters based in London, Liverpool, Milton Keynes, Birmingham, Bristol, Manchester, Leicester, Coventry, Arizona. So it's more their heritage, and if they're used to stands on another side.
Although it's probably good to have someone from Arizona on the team say, no, it's not that hot. Focus on the game, get the job done, create the gaps for me.
So there was a team timeout by West Indies, by the way.
And our team timeouts are sponsored by Crash Course, which specialise in one-to-one PT development, physical training development, making sure that you are prepared on track and off track to be the best that you can be at what you love doing, which is roller derby.
I really like the spirit from the Chinese Nations team. They are clapping, they are laughing, they are smiling.
I mean, who wouldn't want to play at a World Cup, you know? It's might be on a lot of people's list, and there's only a select few that can get the opportunity and earn that opportunity to get to where they are. So it's great to see people taking that opportunity.
Yeah, but sometimes a game like that can break your mood too. I mean, I also played games where I was in the position like 50 points. The other game, the other team had 150, and at a certain point, your mood gets a little down. But I don't see this in here. Look at that. Look at 8-5-2 at the moment, celebrating every point. 2 points they made, by the way, in this 9th jam. Although West Indies had lead status and achieved 6 points. And this is all, again, a typical jam in this game.
8-5-2 Maple Bitch Lap showing us how much energy is being fed from the crowd. It's packed hall today. It's, the House of the Bruisers at track 5.
Okay, out of play call. They needed to let Camboozled go. So lead status for Team West Indies in here. And the pack is speeding up a little bit.
So Camboozled's managed to get lead in, out of all the jams Camboozled had, lead 3 times.
And star pass for Mac in here. So Chinese Nations is out of the initial, and what will happen? The West Indies are calling it.
Would you be able to give me some notes on what the
So at the moment, we almost reached the half of the second period. We are still having 17 and 30 seconds to go, and Team West Indies has 178 points, and Chinese Nations has 53.
Neither jammer have managed to get out just yet. Everything's being held up on the straight. The perfect place to be defending. If you're ever in a tripod at home and you find yourself on the straight, try and keep the game there as much as possible. If you move out and the jammer's not putting pressure on you, you want to pull it back, bring it back to the
what
straight.
a great move. Sorry, did I overtalk? Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
I was so impressed by this spin around during jumping. Lemmy is really a great jammer, doing a great job for the Chinese Nations in here, achieving 4 points and calling it off now. So 4 points for Chinese Nations and the lead status again for Chinese Nations.
So Lemmy, believe it or not, of period 2 has had the most amount of lead jammer statuses, sitting at 3. We've had 6-3 for West Indies. Peter Parker's had 2 lead jammer statuses. Camboozled's had 2 lead jammer statuses. Poker Face 1, and Aphrodite for Destruction 1. Wonder if we've seen Tantrum jamming yet in the second half. But there's Camboozled. I believe that's Camboozled now. With another lead. Nope, that is Aphrodite for Destruction with another lead.
So 16 minutes still to go in the second period, and we will see which team has still a capacity for power. 4 points for Team West Indies in this jam, and they called it in a way that Chinese Nations were not able to score any points.
So having a look at the Saisu mouthguard penalty box, so we've got a full team for both sides on track. Chinese Nations taking the jam line, the WFTDI jam line.
We have Lex and Gui Nation jamming for Chinese Nations, and we have Beat Her Parker for Team West Indies. And I find it quite funny that Peter Park M is also an official today, so they're sharing kind of the name. And yes, there is a lead status for Chinese Nations. Lex and Gui Nation achieved it. while Peter Parker is still in the pack.
Chinese Nation is doing a great job with their two-person wall work. They would benefit more just by trying to peel someone back a little bit more to hunker down in a nice tripod where they'll have a higher success rate of defense.
Yes, they have very stable blockers, and so they can provide to brace very far.
Yeah, they allow themselves to get a little bit spread out, the Chinese nations are, and I think that's what's creating the gaps, and not so easy for them to hold the jammers down. I mean, West Indies are a great team, as we've seen. Just hopefully gives them a little bit more of a chance, and then allows the jammer to press the advantage at the front, allowing the jammer to force the bridge. And Chinese nations need to recognise a little bit and not get too caught up at the front with the offence.
There's an official timeout.
Some chants from the crowd there. Didn't quite pick up what they were saying, but as long as they're having a good time, that's what matters.
Something with DD. I think it is a skater's name.
As we check our notes, try and solve this conundrum, this puzzle. The officials, it looks like the West Indies bench coach took the opportunity to have a chat with the officials. One person that I know executes that practice very well is our own bench coach, Brummies, who's also one of the announcers on another track.
Yes.
I call him a very special name for the unusual calls that sometimes he wins, which isn't fit for purpose for the stream, but suffice to say he has a keen eye for the rules and loves it when a jammer is down or uses a down skater to get round. There's an official review. I'll have that one, thank you very much. So I'll take a few notes. Very useful, especially falling small.
Yes. Okay, official timeout is over. 5 seconds are now called. And we are having a lot of persons in the penalty box at the moment. Maybe this was a result of the official timeout. So 3 skaters from Chinese nations have been sitting. 1 is now back, and also the jammer was sitting in there, so it was a power jam start, which West Indies used very well. So Poker Face already is in the first scoring trip.
Just as the penalty box empties, another Chinese nation skater makes a visit to the S1 Mafgar penalty box. They need a little
this
bit
was not small, unfortunately, but nothing happened. There was a star pass by Chinese nations. So they are back to their strategy.
So there's a good example of what we just discussed in the previous jam, where Chinese nations are allowing themselves to be spread out a bit. We had 3 blockers on track, 2 at the back, 1 at the front, and the 1 at the front is obviously trying to predict and intercept where the West Indies jammer's going. But what's happening is you're giving up space unnecessarily, as opposed to trying to close that gap and hold your ground, because you've only got so much space at the front end of the engagement zone. So trying to get back together is more important than giving that space up at the front there.
So West Indies standing very flat on the WFTDI jam line, and just when it starts, they're finding themselves together, which makes them very flexible and very offensive. So Camboozled has lead status, and Maple Bitch Slap for Chinese Nation is still in the initial. In the meantime, Camboozled is able to achieve her first 4 points.
I mean, the tale of the tape so far is that West Indies have managed to get lead 10 times in this period versus the 5 times Chinese nations have got lead, which is actually an improvement period versus period. So it's just showing that Chinese nations are a little bit more settled into this, but they do seem a little rattled at the moment. They're just not staying together enough for their defense, but it's nice to see that their offense and getting Lujama's status has improved. And he's a bit more focused on achieving that goal. It looks like we either have an official review or a team timeout. 2 Chinese nations. It's a team timeout, and of course our team timeouts are sponsored by Crash Course. Again, if you need to improve your roller derby game, your fitness on and off the track, give chrissycrash.com, with K's, not C's, a message. And also having a look at the Sisu mouthguard penalty box. It looks empty at the moment, which is good. I can see my partner up in the stands having a good time. I was doing her dreadlocks last night. It's the first time for me, that was. So she's now got dreads that are almost the length of the body, or half the length of the body, not including legs. That was an experience and a half. But she's having a good time, having a good chat to Otter Chaos, a very prevalent NSO on the derby scene in England. Thank you for your contributions, Otter.
Yeah, it's really great to see so many different people in here, and it's really a great meeting of the roller derby scene worldwide. I mean, it's actually the biggest tournament that has ever been held.
Biggest roller derby tournament. What was it? I think it's 48 teams, 80 games, 5 tracks. Huge, which is a great testament for roller derby as it grows.
Tantrum sneaking on the inside on her first scoring trip, and West Indies has now achieved the 200 mark. Trying to get on skates while doing this with the arms.
Doing the thing.
Another star pass for Chinese nations on Mac,
yeah. Pat got a little bit strung out there at the apex, but with the 2 connecting pieces in the middle, both teams were able to maintain their tripods long enough. It's very difficult to contain Tantrum, very difficult.
So we have 7 points in this last jam for Team West Indies, and a star pass, and 0 points for Chinese nations.
I think that's an official timeout at the moment. See all the fans.
Did you perceive is West Indies always starting at a jam line and the first in a row at the moment?
It's definitely their preferred. Again, it comes back to what we mentioned in the first period, where a lot of their influence comes from the Birmingham roller derby tactics. So,
yes.
Very comfortable, familiar place for them. But you know, their ability to play the game as the jam continues and evolves.
It will be a power jam start, by the way.
Oh dear.
007 needs to go to the penalty box.
Is that a power jam to Chinese nations?
Yes.
Oh no, Tantrum, 328's gone to the box. So that's Tantrum for West Indies has paid a visit to the box. We're not sure why that is the case. And now an official review has been called by West Indies roller derby. So the drama's all kicking off in the benches. Naturally, if you've got a jammer go in the box at the start of the jam, you're not going to want that. And if you think you've got a case, that's your way to argue at the official review. But I think it's a very bold move to do that when the refs have made the decision. Once they've made that decision, you've got to respect it. You've got to ensure that the refs are respected. Very essential. Thankfully, I've not seen any backchat from the skaters on track, which is great for the spirit of the game, and hopefully sets the example for everyone back at their home leagues.
So as you saw just right in the moment, it was not 007 who was going to the penalty box, the Sisu guards penalty box. It was the previous jammer. They lined up, then there was the decision. The the 007 player, went back to the bench.
Definitely some lengthy discussions going on between all of the refs that have gathered in the middle, as you can see. We're doing a bit of track maintenance as well. Another opportunity to thank the volunteers that have come, taking time out of their days to ensure that the track is as peak in its performance and optimum. Good surface, nice and safe for the skaters. Obviously, thanks to all the crews behind the scenes that make it work. I mean, the sheer amount of media production equipment that is just everywhere is phenomenal. And thank you for Real Time Events for what you've provided in terms of stream.
And thank you also Tourismus Innsbruck. The tourism Innsbruck wishes you an unforgettable stay during the Roller Derby World Cup, which is actually not important for the people who are listening, actually. I switched to another one. The TSG. This broadcast is brought to you in part by the TSG, the trusted brand in action sports protection. Whether you're jamming, blocking, or just rolling for fun, TSG gear has you covered. Explore helmets and pads designed by riders for riders at the international website richards.com. And by the way, Innsbruck is very nice, you should come.
In a rare turn of events, the West Indies jammer is now out of the penalty box. So that's a bit of a story itself. We've seen Tantrum go into the box, come out the box, and now we've got a West Indies jammer. And I am very nervously clicking my pen very often.
So 007 is back on track. Aphrodite for Destruction has the right to jam. There's no power jam situation anymore that Chinese nations can benefit from, unfortunately.
But it looks like they're going to benefit from lead jammer status. Instructions, get going, get points, go round, round, round.
Yes, and Aphrodite for Destruction was really struggling, but now making it through the initial. In the meantime, Lemmy is getting recycled and really struggling to get another 4. To get some points. We will see how many hips she has passed. 2 points for Lemmy in this jam. We have still 9 minutes to go in the second period. West Indies against Chinese nations. This is the 20th game of this tournament. We have 24 games a day till the last day. Then there will be only 8. Yeah, there's a lot to see in here. Unfortunately, one person cannot split into 5, so you could see everything.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. There's so much roller derby content and games going on that it all can't be captured by one brain.
Yeah, but we're lucky to have this broadcast so we can watch all the games after the tournament.
So we still haven't had lead jammer status yet. Both teams pressing for it. A little bit of recycling going along. We've now made it past the apex. And Pokerface not been issued lead jammer. I think the helmet cover might have come off during the jam. I did see Pokerface adjusting their helmet cover. We got a 2-minute jam.
Okay, this was not a star pass, although it may look like Made in China just did a star stash and is through the initial. In the meantime, Pokerface, yeah, also doesn't have lead status. So there will be almost 1 minute to go in this jam. It's a 2-minute jam. 43 seconds left. Really exhausting.
Some good reaction.
You can see it in Pokerface.
Good reaction from Chinese nations there with the offense to defense switch. It's good to see that a bit sharper. It looks like the West Indies skater is making a visit to the S1 mouthguards penalty box.
Nice apex jump.
Followed by a lovely apex jump there by Made in China.
So 10 seconds. Will there be any points?
Poker Face definitely feeling the pressure in this particular 2-minute jam, which is about to end. I think the jammers will be relieved after that one.
This must have been exhausting. 16 points. No, 17? No, 16. 16 points for Team West Indies and 9 for Chinese nations. And there is a timeout official review.
Is very Cherry going to run over? No. Get the goss, we will find out. But yeah, it's definitely hard to stay in a game where the lead has slipped away from you and you're trying to keep it there and try not to let that gap widen. But no, it's a testament to the strength and spirit, and it's also a great learning experience as well that you can take into the next game, because all these teams we've got more games coming up. They're guaranteed at least 3 games over the course of the last few days.
Yes.
On the last day, you've got, I think that's the finals, isn't it? So everything's all consolidated into one track. The nice air-conditioned track at that as well. Because today, track 5 has had one less game than the other tracks, which is just as well based on the conditions we've got here. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be absolutely packed on that Sunday in that main hall. If anyone's ever seen,
it will be so loud. I mean, if all the crowd comes on one spot, it's already very loud in here. But this is really crazy in here. By the way, do you know Blood and Thunder, the mark? I don't know. I will check out their website on bloodandthunder.com for all the good stuff, because it's a Derby-inspired apparel brand, and it is existing since 2006. I never heard of it.
Wrote me right in there. I'm going to have to check it out, because you know what they say, knowledge is power.
Yes.
So the more you know.
Another reason for being here in person is also the great merchandise you can achieve.
Oh yeah, I haven't even told my other half how much I've spent. I've managed to get a Team Australia shirt for one of my good friends in Crash Test Brummies, Tristan, or Clem Slamdango. That's a mouthful of a name. Got some Australian heritage, so had a nice little chat with one of the Australian skaters at the merch desk on the phone. So he was like, oh, he enjoyed that. And then I've got, I don't know if my 2 Polish friends down in England that are looking after my cats, I bought them some shirts from Team Poland and some badges. But
nice. Yeah, Team Poland, I heard, has really great design.
Yes.
I need to check that out too.
Yes, that's definitely one for the chat.
A lot of falling down in here. Maybe it's also because the power gets lower and lower. We still have 6 minutes to play Derby. Tantrum has lead status. And sneaking through on the inside with almost no contact. I think there was I don't know what happened, but there was not many contact.
Some nice offense there from Tantrum on the inside of the track. Just destabilizing the wall a bit, but Chinese nations have responded really well with some good reactive defense. Moving into the clog, establishing their tripod. Really slowing the pace down. We have seen a slow in the pace in the last few jams for sure. It's going to sap all your energy out with this heat. Oh, what did we just see before our eyes, Jux?
Great sneak through on the inside, and a star stash by Lex Anguin Nation. Has there been any hip? Yes, there was one hip. 1 point for Chinese nations in here.
5 minutes 20 left of this period. So we're up to jam 19 already. So we have seen some quite short jams. The jam is on, and unfortunately the pivot cover has fallen off of the Chinese nation's pivot. I'm not too sure if the jam was supposed to pick it up, but they have dropped it now. It has caused a bit of confusion.
Aphrodite for destruction with the lead status, and now calling it off. If you were asking yourself the result of the last official review, by the way, there was The lead status was questioned and it was discussed, and the officials stick to their decision.
With the headphones I've got on at the moment, it sounds like the crowd are chanting table. I'm half expecting some wrestlers to come in and start putting people through table.
I heard fuego.
Fuego. Oh. Does that mean anything to you?
Fire.
Ah, very good.
So Poker Face has achieved the lead status in here, while Maple Bitch Slaps at the moment was recycled. And there's a star stash in here, I think.
Good lateral movement.
And now
there.
a star pass to Mac again. 1-2-1.
Some hands on hips at the moment.
There was a cut penalty for a blocker from the West Indies team. So they start only with 3 blockers. Little advantage for Chinese.
Speaking of the penalty, still really clean this period as well. We've seen one little moment of the penalties, but other than that, that box has been really clean and mostly empty. Easy job for the NSOs there.
So we will see if they make a little effort on this, being more blockers on the track for Chinese nations.
Tantrum there getting lead for West Indies. That's a blue 3-8.
A lot of people screaming at the moment. What a great defense. The last line of defense really did a great job in here. 4-0-7. The West Indies blocker by Mazunvaria. Really making it hard for the Chinese nations to get through this pack. They're fighting so much.
Doesn't stop them fighting, does it? They're still going for it. And there's that Wiltshire accent. A little bit of a tumble there from the West Indies jammer. Just catching their breath.
There was a little fall down, but nothing happened.
And they are working incredibly hard, you know. This is the highest level of competition you're going to see in the world of roller derby, especially with the amount of teams and the size of this event.
Aphrodite for Destruction is lining up for Team West Indies again. And 999 Lemmy standing a little far apart and then speeding in with energy. I'm really impressed by Lemmy. I really like the way the person is jamming. So many different styles, so aware, so fast. It's really impressive. Aphrodite for Destruction has lead status, and Lemmy is still in the initial because Lemmy is great, but also the West Indies blockers are really doing a good job and making it very hard. Yes, but Lemmy making her pass through. In the meantime, Aphrodite for Destruction earns another 4 points. And there's no call-off decision. So Chinese nation can show what they can do.
Yeah, Mac trying to break this four-skater defense from West Indies. The waterfalling is on point and making it an absolute nuisance for Lammy to get out. And we also noticed there's not been a call-off despite Lammy being on a scoring pass.
4 points for Lemmy now. And again, they're doing a great job, although there are only 2 blockers. They are really holding the Team West Indies jammer very long. And now Aphrodite for Destruction. Call it off. Oh no, time was over, right? Sorry. There was no call off. They just played till the end.
Yeah, no more time on the jam timer, and we're just waiting for the officials now to finalise their scores so we can get the last cheer for these 2 teams' efforts today.
What a great last jam. 12 points for Team West Indies and 8 for Chinese Nations. They showed their best in this last and very exhausting jam.
Again, I know we said it a few times. We can't exaggerate how warm and hot it has been in this hall, and
Yes.
the weather that we've seen in Innsbruck the last few days. I mean, I've been here since Tuesday. It's just sweat constantly, so aircon is always appreciated. And then to do that with skating, you know, you've got to balance that hydration with the intensity.
Yes, I also appreciate all the volunteers. The track is cleaned very often, which makes it much more safer. There's nothing more better than a little stone and you just fall over that. Yes.
Yeah,
more better, more worse, more.
We've all been there with the stones.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I've been Mr. Hazard.
I've been Juxta Pose, and it was me a pleasure for being announcing with you.
Thank you.
I really like watching this game. Yes. There are more streams to come. This is not the last game, although the last game in this track, in this very hot track. But yeah, keep tuned in. This was only the first day. There are more days to come. Till Sunday we are here.
But until then, stay hydrated. Thank you very much.